Greetings fellow gamers and 7 Days to Die fans, this is Small Archangel and welcome to my bunker. This is another how-to. I've had a couple of requests for showing how forges work, and I thought it might be a good idea because I haven't got around to using forges in my co-op or my single player Let's Play series yet, and we'll go over part of the reason why that hasn't happened yet in this how-to. But if you're anything like me, you will have found the forges a tad difficult to work out. They have changed quite a lot since Alpha 12. Obviously, the campfires, we know how they work. They're quite a little bit different themselves, but we're just going to go down to my Uber bunker here. I have a bunker below my bunker, which is where I've placed my forge room. This is my forge room. I've got my forge and I've got a campfire down here as well. Now we know with the campfires, these took a little bit of getting used to as well because they've changed in that you put now all your cooking utensils in there at the same time, which is kind of cool in a way because it means you don't have to keep switching them over. You put your fuel in there and there is now an on-off button as well, which is a definite welcome improvement with the campfire. We know problems we had with cooking things and forgetting to hit cook, but now you can put your fuel in there and you can just leave it in there, so your campfire will actually store 3 full stacks of fuel if you want, and then you can turn it on and off at will. And then you've got all your recipes down the left hand side here. Now the forge works a little bit like this, but you see the UI looks pretty much the same. We've got our recipes down the left hand side there, we've got our tools up at the top here, and we've got 3 of these. We've got an anvil which you can actually make on the forge yourself. There's a recipe for it, clay and iron. And we've got a tool and die set, and then we've got the calipers. Now I've only just found the calipers in this game. They're such a pain to find for some reason. I mean, I think I made that. Maybe you can find those also, but either that or I made it. I don't honestly recall. I've actually found the tool and die set pretty much all over the place, especially in cars and working stiff tools. The calipers, I found those in a car as well, so cars are always a good place to look. Before you trash a car, always search it. Okay, so there you've got that, and that kind of looks similar. Then we've got our output down here, just the same as we had with the campfire. Now, the difference here is input. Now, with the campfire, it will automatically take the materials it needs from your inventory. The forge will not do that. Obviously, it turns off and on just as does the campfire. But with this one, while we're burning our way through this fuel, I have placed in the input here, you can see we've got a list. We've got iron, brass, lead, glass, stone, and clay. And in this input box, you've only got 2. You can only put 2 in there at the same time. Basically what's happening here is that these are being taken into the forge and they are being smelted down, and the forge has otherwise invisible items in it, which you can see listed here. So you can see we've got 270 iron smelted down in here, 389 stone, and 175 clay. Now at the moment I don't have any brass or any lead in my forge. I also don't have very much in the way of clay. So I'm going to get, you could also put glass in there. I'm going to take out my stone because we've got a load of that in there right now. And I'm going to put in brass. And if you put in brass, you can see there's absolutely 0 brass in there at the moment. Now there's 10. And for every click, you'll get a certain amount more of that that item in there that has been smelted down. So in other words, the forge cannot use the materials straight out of your inventory. It needs to smelt them down first. So if you see in the anvil recipe here, we have a lump of clay and we have scrap iron. Now we're actually talking 20 clay and 200 iron for an anvil, so that's quite expensive as you might expect. But we're not talking the raw clay or the raw iron such as you'd find in the world. We're talking about the smelted stuff. So that's this stuff here. So you can see this is white. In other words, the letter's white. It's not greyed out, which means that we can make it. And that's because I've got enough iron and enough clay in here. Now I'm going to actually take out the iron and put in clay for the moment, simply because you're going to need a lot of clay. Most of the recipes we use clay. And for the moment, yeah, I'm just going to I'm going to put some I might put some lead in there to smelt as well, actually, because we've got no lead whatsoever at the moment. And again, we should see the lead count clicking over there as well to 5. We've got 80 brass already. And then we've got 0 glass because I haven't put any glass in there yet. Alright, so we should have quite a few mats in here now. You can see we've got 350 iron, 270 brass, 290 lead, 409 stone and 405 clay. And you can see it's burned through quite a lot of that as well. But not too much coal. It gets through each lump of coal in about 20 seconds, so you will need plenty of fuel for your forge as well. So now, recipes and actually manufacturing things with your forge. So obviously I don't need an anvil. What I do need, I need some brick blocks because I need to finish my floor in here. So we're gonna, how many do I need? I think I need about 5. So let's just, you hit smelt. Just this works the same as any of the crafting menu. Now, providing you have got the resources in here, and you can see how many we need here. We actually need 100 clay for each one of these, which is yeah, quite a lot. But there we go. Actually, 100 clay. That's kind of weird. Oh, I think that's for the whole 5. That makes fine. That makes sense. And there we go, we have our 5. I was going to say 100 clay for 1 block would be a little bit much. And our floor is finished. Now let's see what other things we can make here. Obviously we can make brick pavers, which has more or less exactly the same recipe. So you can see actually it takes 100 clay for that as well. So we've got bookshop, bullet casing. Obviously we have the necessity to learn some of these recipes, so your cement there, we'll just make a bit of cement here as well, just so you can see. And I do need cement because obviously if you want to upgrade anything to concrete, make anything out of concrete, you're going to need cement, and you can see how much stone we're getting through in the process of doing this here. Now you can smelt at the oh there, we've got it there already. You can smelt at the same time as you are manufacturing, and it is a good idea if you do so, because as you can see the manufacturing process has been slowed down somewhat already. So really the last thing we need to do is yeah, be sort of disorganized about this. Basically, if you want anything to be sort of done, you don't really have to babysit the forge, provided it's got enough materials in it. It can just sit there and sort of smoke away on its own, and you know, quite happily. And you can have, you've got a queue just like you have with your other manufacturing processes as well, so you can tell the forge to do various things, and then you can just leave it, and provided there's enough fuel and provided it has enough process materials in it, it will do anything that you need it to do. You can see I can't make a mini bike chassis because I haven't learned that recipe yet, but pretty much everything else. I can't make the glass because I don't have the glass, and brick stairs I can't do because you need brick paver blocks in order to do that. So if I wanted to make brick stairs, I would have to put in some brick paver blocks, and yeah, I'm going to put some iron in there to smelt as well. So there you go, that gives you an overview of how the forge works. Now there's a few other considerations for using the forge, and my character just nicely demonstrated one of them, which is that if you stand on top of it, you're going to get too warm. So you want to make sure it will heat any room that you're in, which if you're in a frozen biome is great. If you're not in a frozen biome, and I am in a forest biome, it's not so great. You just got to watch your own personal temperature. Definitely don't stand next to it wearing a coat. That's number one. The second consideration is heat map. Now, if you've got a forge running all the time, or for long periods of time, and let's face it, with the new way of having to smelt our materials, this is likely to happen. You are going to attract the attention of screamers. So where you place your forge is a primary concern. You probably want to make sure that either you don't put it anywhere too close to your base, so you put it, I don't know, a couple of a chunk away or something like that, so that you know where it is, and maybe you can even see it from where you are, and snipe at any screamers that appear, or at least out of the way, so that, you know, if it's in totally different chunk from your base, maybe the screamers won't even appear there at all. I'm not sure, but if you do that, just be aware that if screamers do appear and they do bring a horde in, they will probably destroy your forge, and along with your forge they will destroy all the fuel you've got stored in it, all the processed materials you've got stored in it, all the non-processed materials you've got stored in it, and your precious tools, including, you know, especially the calipers, which, as I say, are really difficult to find. So actually you stand to lose a lot if the zombies get their manky little paws on your forge. So you want it to out of the way, which is why I have put mine at least 35 blocks under the ground in my base, and you can probably imagine why I might have done that now. And the other thing I've done, which I will show you when I finally get up here. It took quite a lot of digging to get down there, but the other good thing with that is it's good experience, and also, yeah, it's good experience, and you get lots and lots of materials, lots of lovely stone, lots of lovely iron. Open sesame. And this is the other thing I have done. So underneath this lot is my forge, probably underneath the bit that's more gore covered, to be quite honest. When these kind of earth piles formed before the gore blocks were disabled in game, and I can't get to them to destroy them now anyway. So yeah, this is how I protect my forge. Any screamers turn up here, basically they just die. And I've had a few, but I haven't known about it until I've seen their dead corpses, which is you know, as opposed to their live corpses, which suits me fine. So there we go. So that's how I deal with that. So if I were to place a forge in here, as I did in earlier plays, in Alpha 12 for example, this is not sufficient blocks away, and the zombies would definitely be able to detect it, even the non-screamer type zombies. They would all be able to detect it. Feral hordes can and will raid in through your ceiling as well, because I've had this happen in precisely this base, hence the concrete up there, because this is where they came in. And so yeah, watch out for that. And as I say, if you leave your forge out in the open, even if it's within sniping distance of your base, yeah, do beware. You'll have to keep on top of that, because if a horde does spawn, they might well destroy your forge and everything that's in it. And yeah, they do attract a heck of a heat map now as well, because we have to keep them burning all the time in order to smelt down all of those materials. And the manufacturing process itself takes quite a while as well, especially if you've got several things queued up. So if you're making a base entirely out of concrete, you've got to bear in mind, of course, that you need the materials spare in order to repair the materials, you know, as the zombies have broken them. So not only do you have to have the concrete to make the concrete blocks, but, you know, you then have to have some spare concrete mix. One bucket to repair every sort of, you know, stage's worth of damage, at least. So yes, it's quite a resource-intensive process altogether. So so there you go. I think I'm gonna turn off my forge now. It's been quite. I've got quite enough of a heat map around here. I've got my floor finished in here, so I'm happy, and hopefully that is vaguely clear now, and you can see how the forges work. So when we get round to it in our single player series, then I won't have to remember to try and explain how that works. Okay, cool. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope that this has been you know, of interest and vaguely informative to anyone who hadn't quite figured the things out yet, or hasn't, like me, got around to using them. Although, as I say, I have in my private play, but it took a certain amount of experimentation, and so, you know, you expect it to work just like the campfire, but it doesn't. Not exactly. So so there you go. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this. Do leave a comment. I always try and reply to any comments. And do join me for my next single player game, whichever episode that happens to be at the time of release. And I will see you guys then. Until then, keep gaming, keep surviving, stay happy. Bye-bye for now.